For example, Jamye Waxman's 101 Positions for Lovers, which you shot in Jamaica.
I shot it in Jamaica with 3 real couples, and I mean
30 positions each?
They did more than 30 positions each. We cut out some positions, and there's actually 102 positions in there, but 101 sounded better, so we kept that. But no, and they were real, I mean, they were great sports. But when, like something like this, most of those positions you're not really gonna do. If you try them, that's awesome.
It'll be fun for a minute.
Right, if you, 30 seconds, some of them, 10 seconds. Do you know that there's certain positions that we take breaks? There's other positions that you see like sort of looped because someone couldn't keep it for more, you know. But the point is just like experimenting. And it's the same thing with sexuality. And what I think boggles my mind, going back for 1 second to sex education, because I don't understand how all these adults now don't remember what it was like when they were a kid and when they like had sexual, like when they first lost their virginity and like all of that kind of stuff.
Well, for a lot of people, I think pushing abstinence only, they are people who themselves maintain the virginity before marriage and monogamy after marriage because that is their value system, which is a perfectly fine value system.
Yes.
But I hear more and more from people who saved it for marriage and then it was a disappointment because they didn't have the discussion ahead of time. For example, segueing into Tiger Woods, do you know the blogger Greta Christina?
Yes.
She's amazing. Just do a search on her name, Greta Christina, fantastic. She did a blog that highlighted some of Tiger Woods' more explicit text messages, and she said she likes him, it humanized him, and she likes him much more because she recognizes him as part of the kinky tribe. And so she had a lot more compassion for him, and I really loved what she had to say about it. I'm taking back everything I said up to them because I didn't have a good response about Tiger Woods. I think compulsory monogamy is oppressive, and so did he realize after marriage that these fantasies actually were a stronger part of his kink nature, and what am I going to do? Did he try to have a discussion with his wife about how can you meet me halfway down the kinky path and so we can have this relationship together? We don't know anything about, of course, their personal life together. And so she just had a lot more compassion for him as opposed to a slimy, cheating, asshole, son of a bitch jerk, as someone struggling with his sexuality. It's like being married for many years and realizing, oh my God, I'm gay. What do I do? Oh my God, I'm a cross-dresser. What do I do? Oh my God, I think I might be poly, but I didn't know. What do I do? So we don't know when he discovered his kink nature, but quite frankly, some of the stuff he wrote down, it's like, I did that yeah, that is totally fun. I love it when my partner does that to me. Oh, yes. And
he was just a little stupid. He did leave a huge paper trail.
No, we're not talking about how stupid or not stupid he is. I think
it's just the idea that he is.
I think his childhood was stolen by his father, and I don't think he has a regular sense of being in the world. He's always been padded and protected.
Sure.
And so most guys have golf for a hobby, and that's his living. So did he build boats? No, he has kinky sex, and which I'm perfectly for. Not to say that he managed it well, et cetera, but still to have compassion for him as a human struggling with his sexuality and trying to be honest about it, and watching him having to apologize to everybody was really just uncomfortable for me. I didn't think it's like, it's my personal life, you know?
But that goes back to the whole reason, I mean, that we're both here and that we do what we do is, it's a continuate, sexuality is fluid. That is all I know about everyone's sex life, regardless of how you choose to shape it or work it or do it, you know, it's fluid and it will change over time. And if it doesn't, it's like anything else, it's gonna get boring unless you really just add little elements here and there. And I think that's one of the biggest messages. And I mean, you know, the whole idea that 7-year itch that people talk about, research actually shows that it's a 4-year itch. And that after 4 years, that's enough time for a woman to meet, mate, and have that baby.
And have it weaned.
Exactly, where at 4 years old, it's old enough to be on its own, not of course, you know, on its own, but
it's potty trained, it's weaned,
yeah,
you know.
And so the natural instinct is to
look around for
select a new mate, right, you know?
Good point. For it makes, for me, it was always a one fuck itch. It's like, so that's why I'm surprised with my partner, with Ernest, because after 10 years, it's like, man, I still find him hot. What's with that? Oh my God, because I'm much more like.
That's what I want. Can you find that for me?
You know what? I've often thought I wanted to clone Ernest in several different age groups. So there needs to be a 20-something Ernest for the 20-something girls out there, and a 30-something Ernest for the 30-something women, and a 40-something Ernest for the 40. And I share, but he.
But there's only one of him.
But only one of him, so you only get him for an evening. But so I feel, and going back to the abstinence problem. So if sex is this wonderful thing between two people, but you and I don't get to have the conversation, if you want to be technical virgins before marriage, fine, but that means you should still, with your partner, your fiance, heavy petting, mutual masturbation, discussing about fantasy, the use of adult material. Will you permit it? Are you okay with it? Because some monogamous couples share pornography together as a way to keep things interesting, all the way to the point of other couples, one partner will feel it's as bad as cheating to have their partner masturbate without them. So the sharing so I think couples who might want to be virgins, okay, I don't get it here, but I get it if that's your value system and you only want to do that. But that doesn't mean no conversation about sex, no experience at all. Women, ladies, please don't have sex with any man before you know how to have an orgasm on your own, by yourself, reliably and repeatedly. And guys, don't have sex with anybody until you can, on your own, reliably and repeatedly, make masturbation last at least 20 minutes, minimum, before you go off. And then maybe you can start having the conversation about partner sex. Men should last at least 20 minutes. Women should know how to have an orgasm without anybody else in the room.
See, I understand, and I agree with your concept, but I feel like I had a lot of sex years of intercourse before I had an orgasm, and I thought it was fun. I just didn't realize that I kept thinking maybe I had an orgasm, and that's when, now I know if you think it, odds are you haven't. But it took me, I started having sex when I was 16, and I didn't have my first orgasm until I was 21. So it took me a long time, and I still enjoyed the experience I had. Granted, it got much better later on after an orgasm, but I was okay with what was going on.
See, I started masturbating at 16, and after 35 years of being sexually active, I still do not have orgasms during intercourse.
No, most women don't.
Most women don't, but still, so as good as I am, experienced as I am, and as good as my partner is, et cetera, no, it still doesn't work that way for me. So there you have it. And we have a book.
Yes.
Jamye Waxman's book.
Getting Off: A Woman's Guide to Masturbation. But guys can read it too. I was actually fascinated. The thing for me, I loved doing the research for that book. And there's a whole section on like Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Yes.
And graham crackers.
The original health food.
The original health food designed to
decrease desire.
Exactly. And they actually, I couldn't put this in the book because I read it somewhere and couldn't back it up enough. But apparently, John Harvey Kellogg spent his honeymoon. He never actually had intercourse, I don't think, with his wife, and spent his honeymoon writing a whole treatise on why not to masturbate, 96 pages. And so they made these foods really bland because they thought that would curb sexual desire and stop you from. Yeah.
His poor.
Well, it's fascinating. I mean, really, there's so much historically about masturbation. And even if you think current films, well, not current, this is not very current, but Pleasantville.
That was a beautiful scene.
There's a scene in it where Joan Allen's masturbating in the bathtub, and as soon as she has an orgasm, that's when everything starts to burst into color. And there's such a message there besides like a beautiful message. There's also a kind of angry message of like, in my translation, the power of female orgasm, yes, and how it can destroy a world, or change
a world. So where's your website?
My website's jamyewaxman.com, and it's spelled JAMYEWAXMAN. But if you spell I spell it
JAYME.
I know.
Everyone does.
It's JAMYE. My parents were they were in the hospital and they were about to write JAMIE on the birth certificate, and the nurse said, "That's so boring, you should change the I to a Y." And I swear she knew I was the purple sheep of my family. She knew my parents were gonna have to deal with this the rest of their lives. I have a mom who says, "Please don't bring sex toys to the house anymore, we have enough." I don't think they use them, for the record, but she just doesn't want any more in the house that I'm not using.
If they spell it different ways, will they still get there?
Oh yes.
Okay.
I was smart enough to
get all the different spellings and all that. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
today.
having me.
No, I look forward to our next workshop together where we continue to talk about porn sex versus real sex because they're not the same.
They're not.